The famous, the known, the
That would
fantastic.
that would be infamous, but go ahead.
Yes, that would be infamous. That's absolutely right. Hey guys, I know that we are live today. We are live at a different time. We're usually live at night, but you know what? With COVID, everything is nighttime. We don't know what day it is. We don't know what date it is. We don't know what time it is. But we figured, why not? Let's come on online and talk about all wonderful things of ADMC, but specifically our current environment and everything that's going on. But before I jump into all of this amazing conversations with you, Roy, why don't you tell all of our viewers, because this is our ADMC page, so we have over 2,000 people who are followers on this page, and many of them are not ADMC members.
Wow.
Can you tell them, can you please tell them a little bit about you?
Sure. Dentist. I practiced in the western part of Virginia for 27 years. Had flown to the American Dental Association meeting in San Francisco, California. And while I was listening to Rudolph Giuliani get his keynote speech, my phone began to vibrate. It was my wife who was calling, but rather than answering the call, I closed my phone, waited for Giuliani to finish. As everybody started to pour out of this large auditorium in San Francisco, California, I opened my phone. I called my wife to find that the FBI had come to my office. They'd battered down my back door and were taking all my records. I called my office. It was Friday. Didn't expect anybody to answer. My team wasn't going to be there, but somebody did. It was an FBI officer who explained to me that they had executed a search warrant, that I was a target of a healthcare fraud investigation. So for the next 3 years, I was investigated, was then indicted, spent 2 years preparing for the trial. Went to trial, was found guilty of healthcare fraud, racketeering, and money laundering. Spent 19 months in federal prison, 2 months in a halfway house, and there was a lot that I learned in the process. Most importantly is the definition of intent to defraud. I knew if you submitted a claim for a patient you never saw for a service you never did, certainly that's fraud. But legally, there is a much broader definition of intent. They include what's called blind disregard. So if you make mistakes and don't have systems to identify and correct those mistakes, from a legal standpoint, that's intent to defraud. And even though my business person was asked, did they ever make me aware of any payment that was received that they felt was inappropriate, her answer was no. It didn't make any difference. They did the evaluation over the course of 6.5 years, and over the 6.5 years, I was paid $3.5 million for the services I provided. And of the $3.5 million, I was found to have gotten $17,899.57 more than I was entitled to over that 6.5 year period, which is 0.1%. Thought that was a pretty good error percentage, but not so much. They didn't think so. I was sentenced to 24 months. And as I said, I spent 19 months in federal prison and 2 months in a halfway house. And I learned a lot about what you should do and what you shouldn't do. So I had been encouraged to attend the Speaking Consulting Network. In fact, Linda Miles, who was the owner at the time, basically insisted that I was going to go to SCN. I did, and I learned about the speaking area of dentistry and the writing and consulting. But she also highly recommended that I go to ADMC, the Academy of Dental Management, as well. And I was thinking, I don't want to be a consultant. I don't know how to do that. I don't think anybody would want me in their practice to be able to do that. However, I did learn. I did follow her directions. I did go to the ADMC meeting, and in the process, as I was speaking, there would be doctors or team leaders who would come up to me afterward and ask, do you ever come into practices and help implement what you teach about? And I said, no. And they asked me, would I? And I thought, well, I guess I could. And, luckily, I had started in the process. And to be totally honest, total candor here, I was not very good at what I did in the consulting piece. I kind of worked through it and made it work, but a lot of hit and misses. And had started the career, but I did take Linda's advice and applied to and was accepted to ADMC and learned through that process and through the years how to do it more effectively and efficiently, and didn't like it so much in the beginning. Like it now because I know how to do it. And the reason why I have been able to move from, I hate to do this, to, this is kind of cool, is because of the tools I've been able to gain and the relationships and camaraderie and the support I have from people that are in the Academy of Dental Management Consulting. So one of the best decisions I've ever made. And that was a long, long answer. Minal, I'm sorry, I have ADHD. I have no idea if I answered your question or not.
You totally did. And you gave me so much more here, right? Like, this is amazing. And everybody who's coming in, we have Andres, we have Tamara, we have Deborah, we have Tim, we have Mary, we have Janice. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for watching live. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. You are perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much for being live. Well, you know what, Roy? So this is a perfect time for you to be a guest on the webinar, right? Because, well, you've been through the worst.
There's never a good time for me to be on the webinar, but I have.
You have pretty much gone through so much, and you're still such a positive influence, and you are such a great person, and you do incredible work.
Thank you.
And it's so amazing to know that ADMC is a huge part of that.
Yeah. It is a huge part. Like I said, anytime you have a foundation and a network of people that you can count on, it makes what we do much, much easier. You're not the lone wolf. You think you're out there by yourself. You're absolutely not. And when you're asked a question, rather than just going, duh, I don't know, you can always answer, that is a great question. That's not in my sweet spot. I don't have expertise here, so I don't want to misguide you. So here is somebody that I can reach out to, or if you'd like to, you can reach out to them and get that question answered. It is an excellent question. And, back to what you were saying as far as being equipped to deal with this, my wife and I had a conversation the other evening, and we were kind of laughing in the kitchen. And I kind of looked at her and I said, it's really weird that we're kind of laughing and not taking this too seriously. And she looked at me with very, very serious eyes and said, we've been through much worse than this and we're fine. So we're going to get through this too. And one of the taglines at the bottom of my email is, a bend in the road is only the end of the road if you fail to make the turn. We have been dealt a 180-degree turn from being full-blown busy, having a calendar that's full, traveling and consulting or speaking, and now talk about full stop. But in every challenge, there's an opportunity to learn and grow, and this is an amazing opportunity to learn, to grow, to share your expertise and become valuable. In this world, it's a time to give back. It's not a time to take, because we're struggling as a country. We're struggling as individuals. We're struggling as consultants. But to be honest with you, and I think, Minal, you and I shared this earlier, I have been busier in the last 2.5, 3 weeks doing webinars, training, and education than I have in my career before this altogether. And it's the theory of planting, sowing, and reaping. What we're doing today when we share that information, we're sowing seeds, which will not begin to grow for a while. It may start to sprout soon, but it'll start to grow. But the issue is, you reap what you sow. If you sow gratitude, if you sow abundance, and Laura has been wonderful about her theme, ADMC, where abundance takes root. That is so true. And we're sowing seeds today, and that plant will grow. But the issue is, whenever you sow a seed, you always reap more than you sow. For example, if you plant a corn seed, when that corn stalk comes up, it will have multiple ears of corn, and how many different kernels are on that. So we're sowing seeds now. So
we really are. And a part of this, actually, is there an echo? If there's an echo, guys, I apologize. I don't know if there is an echo here. But what has been incredible to me is, I shared a little bit about this with you earlier, as my journey into adulthood started a little different, because I was a sophomore in high school when 9/11 happened. And I went to school in New Jersey at Rutgers, right next to New York. So the New York that I know is different than the New York that was pre-9/11. Then I graduated in 2008 at the height of the recession. We went through the Obama presidency, we are going through the Trump presidency, and now we have a pandemic in the world that we live today. But throughout this all,
Does that mean you're taking responsibility for all this, Minal? Because it sounds like
Absolutely
you're
not.
in the middle of all
It's the whole millennial generation. Let's blame this on the millennials again. Let's add another thing on the why hate millennials thing,
Were
right?
it not for millennials, none of this would have happened. So now that we have that out.
The millennials, yes. But when I look at through all of this, I kind of go back and figure out, well, how have we achieved everything that we have achieved so far? And it all comes down to having that resource, that authenticity, and that attitude that you always talk about of abundance, right? It's so easy, being a part of ADMC has been such an incredible thing because I can simply, like you said, if I don't know something, pick up the phone and call somebody. I can Facebook message somebody and I can ask them, and not even just information for my clients. Like right now, let's see, let's talk about COVID and the current environment that we have, right? There is so much going on, and we are right now worrying about our clients because they are obviously looking at us and asking for information, which we are providing. I mean, I have done everything from providing free math lessons to recipes for home. You think I'm joking? I woke up last week with a client who texted me and said, "Can you help me with math?" So I'm like, well, I'm your marketing strategist. But I understand because she remembered that I was in math competitions. I did that in my youth, and I actually know the new math.
Okay.
And so she remembered that I knew the new math, and she's like, they changed math. I have no idea how to do this math. I'm trying to homeschool my kids. So guess what I did? I went and I did a 1-hour Zoom call on math. Mm-hmm. Right? And we talked about math and we did math. And, we are showing up for our clients in every way that we can, but we also have to show up for ourselves.
Absolutely.
There are so many things that I am still trying to navigate. For example, we were just talking about, do we charge? Do we not charge? Do we halt our fees? We are speakers by trade. And speaking is a big part of our income. For many, it's the only part of the income, right?
Right.
And clearly, there is no events. There is nothing happening. And we know that others are struggling too. So how do we work out this financially? How do we work out this with empathy? Mm-hmm. How do we work this out with gratitude? And the only way to really move forward in times like this is to collaborate.
Correct.
And to have a sense of togetherness, and to have a sense of, and this sounds weird, but to have this sense that I have friends. Mm-hmm. And if I don't know something, I can call. Isolation is a real problem. And I think ADMC is such a fantastic place for us to do that, because for me, really, in the last 3 weeks, I thought I knew the people who are members of this, but the amount of members that I have met that I did not know very well, the amount of resources that have been shared with us has been incredible.
Right. And I think it's important to continue. And what we, as I'm vice president, but I'm going to start an initiative so that we have just a informal meeting that we all get together. If you can, that's fine. If you can't, that's fine. Hope to be able to do it on a Zoom platform, and we'll do it on Monday or Tuesday evening, where you can just tune in and just have a conversation. If you have a question, you want to ask somebody, or how to, this has happened, how do you do that? And collaborate that way. It's one of those things. I did have a meeting. The Maryland Dental Hygiene Association had a regular meeting at a hotel in the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area. And of course, this happened. And instead of canceling, they did it virtually. And they were able to connect with people that basically took it over. And there are a couple of meetings that actually since are trying to figure out if they are going to be able to have their meeting or not. I connected them with the people who put the Maryland meeting together, so they have Plan B. So it's going to happen one way or the other. It's going to happen, number one, if things open up and we travel. Or number two, if that's not going to be the case, they're going to do it virtually. And I think they're going to make it optional. So in the event that you can travel, you're more than welcome to do that. However, if you're not able to travel and want to be able to attend the class at home, you can do that as well. So we're thinking in a whole different world. And we as speakers, writers, and consultants, we need to think out of the box. We need to embrace the virtual world. And, what better time to be able to put things in place to be able to do that? You've got time now. You've got the resources. So if you haven't done it, reach out to somebody who may have been a part of it to help in that process. But it's going to be very important that we help our members, and we do that by collaboration. So moving forward, we need to think outside the box. And when something works specifically, we need to put that out there to all our ADMC folks and say, hey, I did this today. It worked well. This was some of the things where I stubbed my toe you need to be watching out for. But what a great opportunity to be able to share. And ADMC is so important to be able to share that information. How did you do that team training? How did it work? How did it look? What did you have to do differently? And there are all kinds of resources out there to help us get through that. So depend on one another. There's never been a better time, a more important time than being a member of the Academy of Dental Management Consultants, because we as a group are stronger than we are as individuals. And if you think I can't afford, think again. By depending on and collaborating with the people that are in this membership, you're going to move further, faster by playing off of and improving or implementing those things that are working for other people. So it's going to be extremely, extremely important that we depend on one another and that we as a family stay together. And I know it's financially we're suffering. Everybody's suffering. Right. But you need to look at those things that are considered essential. And for me, membership into the Academy of Dental Management Consulting, a group like SCN and the NSA, that will shortcut your learning curve into the new normal, because there's going to be a new normal. And
it's already here. It's already here. We don't even have the option anymore. Yeah, it's not even an option, and that's so funny that you say that, Roy, because, I had the same thing happen to me where I was supposed to fly to Florida to present at a conference and I couldn't, and they virtually brought me in. But here's the thing. It was easy for me to reach out and say, hey, you guys use Zoom. What do I have to do to make sure that I give a powerful presentation via Zoom? Because I was on a panel. I was the only virtual person on a panel, and everybody else was in person, but I was on a panel and they brought me in, and it worked out. But it's what you're saying. It's so relevant is, it's a quote that you send, a bend at the road is only the end if you don't make the turn.
Correct.
And right now is this optimal time to turn. But wouldn't it be great if you knew how to turn?
Well, if you had somebody who had been through the curve in front of you, who had mapped that turn and said, oh, by the way, I tried to do it this way. I turned too fast, or I turned not fast enough. And if you do it this way, I think you'll have a little bit better result. So like I said, do not do this. Don't attempt to do it by yourself, because you will be so behind the curve learning. You can learn from everybody else's successes and failures by staying in an organization like this who are able to help and defend. We had somebody with a question. Are we taking questions now?
Absolutely. We are absolutely taking questions.
Let me see.
Do we have, I know we have a lot of people showing up right now. We have 20-some viewers. Hey, guys, if you're watching, all the 20-some viewers, please make sure you're here, and please make sure that you give us your questions as well. But a couple of tips, Roy, I thought we may maybe share with our audience here right now is, I am a Zoom user and a BeLive user, right? Okay. So if you are in our membership, and everybody who's not in our membership, because this is open to the whole world, know that there are a couple of things that you can do. There is a Zoom platform that you can use, obviously, for virtual meetings. Many of you may be using that for your virtual team meetings as well. But if you are a consultant and a speaker, which I hope many of you are here, speak with study clubs. Here's a little trick that we have been using is my team is actually continuously reaching out. And I have booked during this time, I'm doing virtual presentations, paid virtual presentations. And the way it has worked out is because I have been able to speak with others in ADMC and come up with a plan. I have a protocol in place where I am still making money. So, everybody who's watching here who are not specifically maybe a part of ADMC yet, think about, here's what I did. So before I joined ADMC, I'm going to tell you what I did. This is going to be super authentic to all the listeners, all right? When I close my eyes and I'm like, I want to do this, who's going to be the best person that's going to know how to do this? Well, they were usually in ADMC. So I figured out that you cannot fake experience. You cannot, and I say this all the time, you cannot Google experience. You can't Google experience. I will Google everything else in the world. I'll Google how to change a car radio, how to make a zucchini bread, how to make, whatever. But Googling experience does not exist.
Yeah.
And, that's such an important part when you're trying to make these curves during this time, because you don't want to keep doing something that we know that is not going to work.
Right. That's insanity. Continue to do the same thing with the same way and not expect a different result. Yeah, it's insanity.
Absolutely. Well, we have Deborah Engelnash is here, and she's saying, let's talk about how we are changing the meeting in Orlando to be relevant.
We are tipping it on its head. It's one of those things. Things happen for a reason, especially in my life. I had been in contact with a couple of speakers that I was very excited about. And for some reason, I drug my feet, which is not typical of me. But they weren't under contract, so we're able to make a complete change. And the cool thing about that is we're going to see continual changes between now and then. So the meeting is going to be directly related to what's happened, what we can do now, and what we can do in the future. So we'll have a trajectory, number one, a foundation, and then a trajectory. So to tell you about the meeting in October, I can't tell you much, except we are going to be very geared toward helping through the process. And if you've ever thought about missing a meeting, this is one you do not want to miss, because it will be vitally important for you moving forward. Otherwise, you're going to be behind the curve. You're going to be behind the 8 ball. Deborah, thank you for the question. And I'm sorry I can't be more specific than that, but it's kind of like when they tell you, okay, this is when things are going to get back to normal. We can't say. So will things hopefully be back on the way in October? Maybe, but things will be changing forever. So the information that we need to convey to you, we're going to make sure it is the most current, the most up-to-date, and the most valuable you can receive. So you can count on that meeting being very, very valuable and, in my opinion, essential for your future. Because if you're not leading the pack, the view does not stop, doesn't change. Like I said, the front sled dog is the only one that gets a different view. Everybody else gets a view of what's in front of them, and that's the behind of the animal that's leading the pack. But thank you, Deborah, for the question. I have another one here. It's from Cindy. One of my local clients messaged me today, who is providing the best teledentistry system. So there are many out there. The one that I am most familiar with and has been around for a while, and it's in medicine, is make sure Doxy.me. It is free for the basic system, and like I said, they've been in medicine. And the thing that I stress to my clients, as well as anybody I talk to in a webinar, do not start using the dumbed down recommendation. So they've waived a lot of the HIPAA issues. So you can.
So they're saying FaceTime. Don't do that.
No, I would encourage you, adopt a system that meets compliance before this happened, and it will meet compliance afterward. Because if you adopt some type of system and protocol in the meantime that you're going to have to change later on, that is craziness. Why not just go ahead and put together a system today that will stay compliant through beyond what the crisis? Because crisis has a lower standard, and if you adhere to that lower standard, when things change, you're out of luck. So Doxy, DOXY.me, I would go there, and they have a monthly service for professional. And if you are a consultant with large group practices, multiple offices, they have that. So
right, and they're also providing a 50% discount code that one of the ADMC members has. So
yeah, that's Lori Owens.
Yeah, so Lori Owens has that. Doxy.me has been in the medical telemedical world for some time.
Yeah.
There is also another option that we also have, is Zoom also has a healthcare plugin as well. So if you wanted to create a healthcare account via Zoom, teledentistry, you could do that. Well, but let's say you're going to do teledentistry. This is an interesting point that you bring about right now. The questions that are coming in with teledentistry, you kind of also want to be careful on how you're going to do this, right? Just because it's available doesn't mean that it's simple.
Yeah,
Um,
the scary part is that most insurances will pay for an evaluation done via teledentistry. The kicker is most boards of dentistry do not recognize that as an appropriate way to conduct an evaluation. So even though the insurance companies you bill a 140 a limited oral evaluation, the board of dentistry will go, no, that is a board violation. Your license is in jeopardy because you performed a service that is not recognized by the board as appropriate by a licensed dentist in that state. So be very careful when you do those. If you're billing out the evaluation, that you are allowed to do that in your state. And here's just, we've gotten kind of sidetracked on that.
that's okay.
But that's just another example of why it's important to make sure that you depend on those people who have expertise in a particular area, because there again, you could say, yes, the insurance companies are paying for this. Go ahead and start billing it, when in fact the insurance companies do, but you've violated what is considered appropriate by the Dental Practice Act in your state, and you can lose your license by doing that. So, like I said, just because you can doesn't mean you should, and that's just another example of why you need to depend on those people in ADMC that have an expertise. And I think we have people in every single potential niche in dentistry. Yeah.
Absolutely. We have all of them available with all different things. And here's the thing, right? It's easy if you were to look at somebody and ask them. So for example, that's why I mentioned, just because the option's there doesn't mean it's right for you, nor your state, because Texas is a different state that has very different regulations than New York, let's just say, for example. So knowing it and understanding, okay, because it's available, can you actually use it? And then how are you going to use it? And how are you going to monetize it? Let's just keep it that way, because you do have to make those choices, and we can't know everything.
Oh, really?
I have to sometimes remind that it's like we can't know everything. Sometimes we just don't know things, and when the information coming is confusing, when we Google something and you have two different articles saying two different things, you do need to go to somebody who is experienced in that field. And I know that with ADMC, we had webinars done with experts on billing, experts on working out, the PPP, the loan that we have going on. How do we apply? How do we do this? How do we do that? And those are such important things right now, just for survival alone. And I've had clients who are, again, I'm a marketing strategist, and I speak with my clients on a weekly basis, and it takes a long time, but it's there. And I would have clients who are literally asking me, well, how do I apply for this thing? And I'm like, well, hold up. I know somebody in ADMC knows how to do this, so let me connect you with them. It's just been one of those ways where you become a resource.
Correct.
But my clients value that, because they understand that if I call Minal about something completely random that has nothing to do with marketing, she's going to give me the resource. Right. And that builds a credibility, and it builds a work relationship where they understand that I'm there.
Yeah.
And it's big. It's good for me. It's good for them. It's a win-win situation, for all we have. But I did wanted to, we are coming to that point, and I did wanted to go ahead and end on a good note here. So Roy, I'm going to ask you this question, and all the viewers that we have 23 viewers right now. You guys are being very quiet. You gotta chat with us. But
I don't think anyone else has taken a deep breath yet. We've been talking nonstop, so they probably weren't able to get anything in between.
So here's a question to everybody who's watching and everybody who's commenting. What is a new skill that you have learned during this downtime? Let's end this on a positive note. So Roy, why don't you start? What is a new skill that you have learned during this time?
I know how to properly load a dishwasher. My wife has always never allowed me to do that, but she showed me how, so now I can load a dishwasher. Although that's that's probably not an area we need to go in. The other thing that I have done is learned all I can about teledentistry, and luckily I have a daughter who does teledentistry. That's her position. She's an audiologist in North Carolina, so I've been able to pick her brain. She does it every single day. She does it for a VA, so is familiar with all the government regulations and the ins and outs. They won't let them do anything unless it's appropriate, and there are protocols for all that. So she's helped me gain that information. So I've learned a lot about teledentistry, and moving forward, I think that is going to be a huge, major shift So when we're talking about curves in the road, I think that's one of the biggest curves in the road and the biggest ahas and one of the biggest opportunities if we utilize it in our practice to be able to differentiate ourselves from the other practices in a particular area and make us over and above. So in seriousness, I did both the dishwasher and the teledentistry.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, I have figured out how to, just because my husband's a physician, I've figured out how to clean properly and making sure everything, if you come into our house, it smells of Clorox. I mean, there is nothing with it. There are no other fragrances except Clorox, right? Coming in. Unfortunately, we all have been pushed to do more. I have Penny here. Penny saying she has learned how to conduct breakout sessions in Zoom.
She did. We did that yesterday. I was one of her guinea pigs. It worked beautifully. So honestly, anybody on this call, and Penny, I'm sorry, I'm going to put you out there, but the woman has amazing skills with Zoom. So if you need a tutorial, you need a walkthrough, she's one of the people that can do that. Minal, I'm sure you'll be able. Are you a Zoom person too?
I am a Zoom person, yep.
Yeah. So there again, we've got lots of resources in ADMC. And if you're looking to implement virtual training, use them to increase your knowledge of so that you can do it and do it flawlessly.
Absolutely love it. And, Penny, I haven't even tried that yet. So that's something that, again, see, we are learning all these new skills, which are so absolutely relevant. Deborah is saying that she's doing great values clarification study with two of the other members in ADMC as well. So there are some studies going on here. And now we have other members chiming in who wants to learn how to do the rest of the stuff. See, this is how it all works. We all have so many skills that, that we are absolutely using. Well, the one new skill that I have learned is, I'm sorry, I have to talk Andres. Andres just said, learn to have my first Zoom cocktail party. So Andres, we are going to be doing weekly ADMC members Zoom parties. So perhaps you need to lead one of those and tell us how to do this.
Andres, if you'd like to do that, I can put you in charge and make it part of the ADMC, get together on one of the evenings.
All right, there we go. And then we have Cindy says that she has a new, clean, and organized office, thanks to Andrea, who's another, one of our members as well. She's saying she loves her new workspace, which is fantastic. This is just, absolutely getting great.
Yeah, so those people out there who thought, well, I need to get more organized, we have a specialist in ADMC that does that. That's Andrea.
Absolutely.
So reach out to Andrea. She can put you into a space that you can find things, which to me, that would be wonderful. And you also get friends who send you wonderful things. So I got this the other day. So it's a bomb with an F on it, so you can drop a F-bomb. So those are some things that you get from your family at ADMC as well.
I absolutely love it. Yes, we are here for all of us. We are here to support everybody. One new skill that I have learned, my business is virtual. So except for speaking, I do everything virtually. And I've been able to share my virtual calendar and things like that. But the skill that I have learned, which is interesting, is to just work on my hobbies. I forgot how creative I get when I'm actually focusing on things which are non-work related.
Wow.
So I've been painting and cooking and dancing and doing these things which I was always too busy to do. But I'm doing those now. But here's the thing. Every time I do one of those hobbies, a new idea comes. I'm going to be making a very big announcement by next year because there is a lot of things happening and working right now just because of it. As my client just sent me a picture of a rum cake he made. You see, there is so much going on right now. But everybody wants the F-bomb. Oh, you guys are too funny. How do we get one of those? Well, maybe whoever sent that to you, Roy, we are going to have them send a few more.
Reach out to me in message, and I'll ask their permission first before I share the information. But if they say it's okay to share the information, I'll either let you get in touch with them or have them give me a link where you can go ahead and buy those. But isn't that cool?
That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
That is absolutely amazing. Well, any last thoughts before we jump off?
Oh, in all seriousness, we've kind of cut up and have a good time, but in all seriousness, one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life is being associated with the Academy of Dental Management Consulting and the Speaking Consulting Network and NSA, because anyone who wants to achieve more, you need mentors, you need trainers. The best sports people in the world always have people that help them to train and to coach, and we can do that for each other. This decision to be in ADMC has both equipped me and challenged me, because there are people that are so successful. And I was thinking when I started, I'm never going to be able to do that. And I'm still kind of blown away that I've been able to start a new life, especially with my background, as I shared with you in the beginning. And just last little bit of encouragement, if I can overcome where I started and have gotten to where I am today, I can encourage you and promise you, you're going to be fine. You're going to come out of this and you're going to learn a lot in the process. Some of it's going to be painful, but you'll be better as a result of it. So depend on your Academy of Dental Management Consultants family. Don't feel like that you are being imposing on them when you ask a question. We're here to help because that's who we are. That's who we are as an organization. We have that desire to help other people. So thank you.
Absolutely. And to everybody who's watching, we're going to be doing this every month. If you have any questions, like Roy said, please feel free to reach out to any one of us in the ADMC members. You can go to admc.net. That's our website. We do have a meeting coming up in Orlando this year. It's going to be in the fall, and we are very much looking forward to it because, well, it's going to be a meeting that's not only going to help us become better professionals, but it's also going to help us live and not only survive, but thrive in the current environment. So if you're looking for a tribe, if you're looking for a home with colleagues that are open and ready to share with you, just check us out. Give any one of us a call. I am available. You guys know how to find me. You know how to find Roy. ADMC.net, is our website. So please, and Roy's the incoming president for ADMC. So, any questions you have, we are here, and please reach out. Just reach out. That's all. It's very simple as that. Send us a message, and we are here for you. Well, thank you, everybody who showed up today. Hearts, sending peace and health your way, hoping you're keeping safe, and we'll keep seeing you virtually. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.